welcome back. Today I am talking about a viral trend. So I saw these all over the internet in the recent few weeks, maybe even months, because it is seed starting season for us gardeners. So there is this endless chase, I guess you could say, to find the best method. So this is called the Snail seed starting method, and it claims to be the most space-saving seed starting method out there. And here's a spoiler, I believe that it might be true with that claim. I'm not sure if it's the best seed starting method out there, but it was definitely worth a try. And as you can see, I definitely had success with it. So today I'm going to talk about my experience, and then I'm also going to be starting some more snails with you just to show you the process. So like I said, this snail seed starting method, other names are the sushi roll, the cinnamon roll, you can name it whatever you want, but like I said, the claim is that it is a space-saving method. So whether you have tons of space or not a lot, most of us are always looking for more room to grow our seedlings. So this method is supposed to be good for starting more plants in a smaller area. So as you can see here, I have some nasturtium. The roots are coming out definitely. I'm not too worried about this. A little bit of root damage does not hurt the plant, and in fact, it might encourage a little bit more of a resilient plant. So I have about 12 nasturtium in this little seed snail, and that is about the average that I have. I'll go over the dimensions of my plastic wrap in a little bit, but just to show you the space, here are some soil blocked cucumber plants I have. So soil blocking, you can use, I believe, two different options. This is the larger option, and if I just break away this plant, which again is not going to hurt the plant, you can see that I've got 1 cube of a cucumber plant right here. So my space, if we're doing a side-by-side comparison, obviously these aren't the same plants, but it does give you a view of how many you can pack in. So you can see I have 12 nasturtium here, and in that same space, I would say I've got 5, maybe 6 cucumber plants. Very, very interesting. So I think the claim is right in the fact that you can fit more plants in the snail method. The other claim that I have noticed for this seed starting method is that the tendency to pot up your plants is low. I would disagree with that because I feel like the plants still need space. They might still need to be potted up depending on how many you pack into your snails. Whereas these can live for quite a bit longer in this space. So maybe the difference comes out in the wash, right? You're using less space right now to get them started, but you will have to transplant them and upsize them down the road. Okay, so let me go over some of the plants that I started with this method. Like I said, this is nasturtium. And if we untuck the plastic wrap a little bit, you can see it is quite a healthy root system in there. Planting these out will be definitely very, very simple. Just unrolling the snail, pulling them apart. Very, very easy. Okay, now I have a Morning Glory. Again, roots on these are insane. Morning Glory is not invasive in our area. And this is Morning Call Chocolate. Really, really healthy plants on there. Now these are pretty crazy. This is Alaskan pea. And they are just taking off. I'm not sure if peas are a great candidate, especially because you can start them outside quite early. I don't know if there's a huge benefit to having such a large plant indoors right now, but that's okay. This was an experiment. So there they are. Super, super healthy. I might either have to trim them or start harding them off to take them outside. Okay, and the last one I have in here is Delicata Squash. Supposed to be one of the most delicious squash varieties out there. So this one probably will do well because it is a slower grower compared to some of these other ones. So it's taken its time in there, and I think it'll be quite happy to just grow along in here until I take it outdoors. Again, here is the root system on there. So that last tray I started about 2 weeks ago, and these ones I started a week ago. So you can see they're a little bit, so you can see they're just catching up in growth. Okay, here are some more. I believe these are all pumpkins and squashes. So there's a spaghetti squash. Again, I feel like pumpkins and squashes are a good candidate for this method because they do tend to grow a little bit slower. So I think they'll benefit from this method. And then I've got acorn squash, small sugar pumpkin, honey boat delicata, butternut squash, baby boo pumpkin right down here. And the last one that's just slowly popping up and germinating is Jacoby Little Pumpkin. If you can see it just down here. Okay, so now that I've shown you the proof that this actually works, let's build some of them together. All right, so I'm using a bubble wrap because I have it on hand and it is free. And that's of course another one of the benefits of using this method. You can sort of use whatever you have on hand. Other options to use would be a burlap or a wax paper, packing foam, or a thicker cardboard. Obviously the thicker cardboard will slowly break down, so that's a consideration. Packing, I know there is concern about using plastic in the garden with the microplastics breaking down. So use caution and use whatever you feel comfortable with. So my strips of bubble wrap are about 4 to 6 inches wide. I think this is about 30 or 36 inches in length because we are rolling this way, if that makes sense. So again, 4 to 6 inches wide, 30 to 36 inches in length, depending on how big you want to make your snails. But I would say that this is an important measurement. The 4 to 6 inches is important. This doesn't matter as much because it'll just depend on how many plants you're fitting in. I'm going to do bubbles down. So this is the flatter side. I feel like it'll just be better. So the bubbles are facing out. And then taking our pre-moistened seed starting mix, placing it down. We want it to be about 3/4 to an inch in thickness of soil. Placing it all around our strip. And there we have it. So we're leaving a few inches on this side just for a seam, if you want to call it that. Now I'm not being too fussy, knowing that it'll sort of flatten out as I roll. And then we are literally rolling up our snail. Okay, you can see I've got too much soil here at the end. Like I said, I need a little bit in order to overlap it. So I'll just get rid of that excess. Now I have a little tray here that I was growing microgreens with. I'm going to place it in there like so. Now to wrap up your snail, you can use twine, a rubber band, tape, whatever you like. I found that pressure fit works fine. So I'm leaving this open. It might crumble a little bit, but as I sort of pack in my snails, they'll hold each other in. All right, I'm gonna do 3 more. All right, super easy. As you can see, I do err on the side of a little bit more moist for my soil, but you do you. I find as they are squished together, I can kind of pour out the excess and it's fine. I'd rather have a more moist seed starting mix than dry, as the seeds do need to be moist in order to germinate, obviously. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be throwing in here this time. Like I said, I did a lot of peas and squash and vining plants, morning glory, that type of thing in the other one. So I'm gonna see if these ones have some good success as well. So here I have some marigold. I saved these seeds actually 2 years ago. They are the white tall variety. So they could have been sugar and spice or Eskimo, one of those two. So we'll see how these do. Oh, so like I said, I was doing about 12 plants per seed snail. And again, your seed snail is going to vary depending on what size you're making it, obviously. But I would say that these marigolds are going to grow slower than the other ones that I did. So I'm okay packing these in even tighter maybe about, I would say almost 30 in this one snail. Because I saved these seed, I'm totally fine using more than the normal amount. So that's the marigold. Hi, Porter. Hey, Porter. Petey, baby. Go on. Go on. He's naughty.
Hey, you.
The next one is going to be the annual Clary Rose Salvia. Beautiful one for container gardens around the house. Again, I think these will grow a little bit slower than my peas and beans. So I'm going to pack them in. Okay, and then I've got a Rudbeckia, the annual type Sahara. I did a ton of these in my soil blocking method, but let's just give it a try and see if it comes out healthier or stronger seedlings in this way. Okay, and the last one I have is Coleus, and this is the rainbow mix. Again, I've done a ton of this, but I can always find more room for Coleus in the garden. So liberally sprinkling these seeds around because, like I said, I'm confident that these are slower to grow, and thus they'll have more time to kind of spread their wings in these seed snails. Okay, and then there is the plant tag. And with all my seeds starting, I find it really benefits to have vermiculite on top. It really locks in the moisture, but still helps with any of the fungus that wants to kind of grow on top. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to cover these with saran wrap. Obviously, they will germinate at different times, so I will be sort of aware of that and take off the saran wrap on each sort of pod as needed. Once I see germination, usually I look for at least 80% of germination on each of them, and then I will remove the saran wrap. Watering for these is very easy. Bottom watering is a very good benefit for your plants. Instead of having the moisture up top, it's telling those plants to sort of send down their roots further, thus you're getting a stronger plant. Definitely a good idea. So bottom watering obviously works well with that. Fertilizing will happen once I see at least one set of the true leaves. That's after the second set. That's technically the second set of leaves. The first set of leaves are not the true leaves. Those are the cotyledons. So once I see the first true set of leaves, fertilizing will happen about once a week. I usually use a fish emulsion fertilizer, but anything will do just to make sure that they're getting all the food that they need as they're growing. Well, that wraps up this trialing of trying this new method. Let me know in the comments if you've tried this before, if it seems interesting, if it feels like it's a hoax. Like I said, I think there's some benefits to it, but definitely some considerations. It's definitely not going to replace my typical soil blocking and that type of thing, but it's a little bit fun to try. And like I said, it does work with the space saving as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.